I kept going by this house for over a year, and there was no sign on it that said no trespassing, and it was getting more and more overgrown. And I decided one day that I was just going to go in and see what was there. It was obviously abandoned. And upon entering, I could see there was a whole life that was discarded that I felt I wanted to bear witness to, because it really felt like the whole place was going to disappear. And it has now. It's been razed. There's nothing on the lot anymore. It's on the corner of Rosa Parks and Carolina Beach Road, and there's just some shrubbery and some raised ground. This is Mary Nixon. I found a lot of paperwork of Mary's in the house, and I found objects that belonged to her. And in the very back corner of the house was a headboard and a footboard of a crib. And for a few years I've had this headboard and footboard thinking I'm going to make a book, but a normal book didn't make sense with hinges and pockets and binding. And so I decided that the way to view it as a book would be to view it as a file. So this is a file of Mary's life. And the file has a lot of information in it. There's a description of what it is. I've fused the pieces onto a paper that is made from a garment that was the same color as these document holders that I found in the house. And when I beat that fiber down to create the paper, it made this same color and a much lighter value. And it's a fused sheet, so it gives it some strength. There's a white linen rag on the back, pink on the front, and I chose pink because not only is it feminine for Mary, but it is also a very friendly, welcoming color. And I've found that a number of people who have seen this piece approach it with a little bit of shyness. It is supposed to be handled, and the pink is welcoming and warming, and it makes it more accessible. Also, on the sheets, I'll pull another one. This one is a photograph of Mary. I found lots of photographs and other remnants. This area right here is a blind embossing of something I found in her mending kit, and it looked like she had been a seamstress. There are other images of Mary with her husband at the time. A folder looks like it might have been a honeymoon. These are the original folders that were in the house. I have stamped on the corners, whoops, I'll get that in a minute. I've stamped on the corners letters that give you some sense that there's a sequence, that there's an order, but there really isn't. I wanted people to see this as I had found it. I put it in order sequentially according to date, and so you can get a sense of Mary's life. The most profound piece in here, and let me see if I can find it quickly for you, is this one. We have Mary, we have her marriage, we have an impression of some of her artifacts. Her husband goes into the military, and then we have these letters that were intact, his Dear John letter to her, from when he's in the military in Texas. After this, we start seeing Mary trying to collect medical benefits, Mary trying to deal with the housing authority, Mary making a life for herself. And then there's a break of years. This stops in about 1964, 65, and then there's a jump to the 70s, and there's very little said. Other than you could see that she struggled with some health issues and she made new friends. I came across this and I thought somebody needs to tell Mary's story, and it's not so uncommon from stories that a lot of us have in common. Other people that I've met who are in the arts come across boxes of photographs or boxes of other things, and they'll use them in collages that reflect their own take on that specific image or on that specific piece of paper. I wanted this to address Mary, and I didn't want to do any research on her beforehand because I wanted the viewer to experience the same thing that I experienced when I came across this. And that experience was discovering Mary and all the richness and heartache and tumult that goes along with a life that is happy and full of struggles. And certainly her life was full of struggles.